On the test, uh, a common type of word problem that you're going to encounter is a comparison word problem. So any word problem that has where you see the keywords um, more or less than or as many or much as or greater, greater or fewer than. So any word problem where you see these keywords is a word problem that at least has a comparison component to it. There, it's a problem where two quantities are being compared, and you'll need to know how to deal with these questions. You'll need to know how to translate them into algebra fairly quickly. Unfortunately, it's not that difficult. There's basically two steps. The first step is to assign variables to the quantities that are being compared. So assign variables. And the second step is a little counterintuitive. It's to define the first variable, variable in terms of the second. Terms of second. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at some of these examples. So some of these statements. So here we're told that there are 25 more bananas than apples. This is a comparison between bananas and apples. Um, what we're going to do is we're going to follow these steps. So we're comparing bananas to apples. Let's say that there's B bananas and A apples. So we've assigned variables to the quantities being compared. And what we're going to do now is define the first variable, so the quantity that appears first, in terms of the second. All that means is that the quantity that appears first is by itself. So B is defined in terms of A. B is equal to A plus or minus or multiplied or divided by something. The 25 more tells us that B is equal to A plus 25. Now this may seem a little counterintuitive or a little bit off because the 25 more is next to the bananas, so you might want to say, well, why isn't 25 plus B equal to A? The easiest way to see that B equals A plus 25, that we've written this correctly, is to plug some numbers in. So if we are told that there's 25 more bananas than apples, and we're writing that as B is equal to A plus 25, suppose, for example, that there's 10 bananas. If there's 10 apples, 10 apples, so if there's 10 apples, B would equal, or bananas would be equal to 10 plus 25, or 35. In this case, is this true that there are 25 more bananas than apples? Yeah, if there's 35 bananas and 10 apples, there's 25 more bananas. Or if we have, for example, 50 apples, and we know that B is equal to A plus 25, so B is equal to 50 plus 25, B would be 75. In this case, if there's 75 bananas and 50 apples, then there are 25 more bananas than apples. So the key is to keep track of what is mentioned first. This is just the way English grammar works. Um, when you're making a comparison, the thing you mention first is what's being defined in terms of the thing being mentioned second. So let's take another example. So a shop currently has 90 fewer vegan cupcakes than non-vegan cupcakes. We're comparing vegan cupcakes to non-vegan cupcakes. Let's assign variables. So vegan cupcakes, let's say that there are V vegan cupcakes and N non-vegan cupcakes. And to make an equation, we define the first variable in terms of the second. Again, all that means is that that first variable, the thing mentioned first, the quantity mentioned first, in this case vegan cupcakes, is by itself, and it's equal to the non-vegan cupcakes plus or minus or multiplied or divided by something. 90 fewer means we subtract 90. So once again, if v equals n minus 90, we can show with some numbers, by plugging in some numbers, that this is the correct way to write this. If, for example, there's 100 non-vegan cupcakes, 100 minus 90 is 10. And in this case, if you have 10 vegan cupcakes and 100 non-vegan, you have 90 fewer vegan cupcakes. I won't go through the numbers anymore. Let's just practice. I won't plug in any more numbers. Let's just practice the translating this. So In this example, or in this statement, we're told that Lauren contributed 4 times as many poems to the school magazine as did James. What we are comparing is the number of poems that Lauren contributed, let's call that L, to the number of poems that James contributed, let's call that J. We're mentioning Lauren first, so we're defining Lauren in terms of J, which means Lauren is by herself. The number, or L is by itself, the number, the quantity that is mentioned first, that is on the left as you're reading left to right, is by itself, uh, and we're multiplying J by 4 times J. So the Lauren contributed 4 times as many poems to the school magazine as did James is the way to write that is L equals 4J. And finally, a slightly more tricky one, the price of a laptop is $200 more than twice the price of a tablet. What we're comparing here is the price of a laptop. Let's call that, I'll call that L again. That's the price of a laptop. It's $200 more than twice the price of a tablet. So we're not comparing the price of the laptop to the price of a tablet. We're comparing the price of a laptop to twice the price of a tablet. So actually that's going to be 2t. And the 200 more tells us that we're going to add 200 to 2t because we mentioned the laptop first. So L is equal to 2t. So the price of the laptop is equal to twice the price of the tablet plus 200.